Hi everyone, my name is Erika Buri. I'm the director of the Atlanta Park System, and this is my daughter, Madeline, and we are here to present you with... So here we are, it is August, nearly, and Madeline and I are going to talk to you guys about lightning bugs, because it's summer, and lightning bugs are out right now, and there's all sorts of cool things that we can tell you about lightning bugs. We'll talk about how to catch them, talk about how to keep them at your house for a little tiny bit, talk about how to get more lightning bugs in your yard and how to help them live in your yard, and we'll talk about some science you can do that involves lightning bugs. So some awesome stuff going on this week in Parking It with Madeline and Erika. Stay tuned. So first, some just basic information about lightning bugs. We call them lightning bugs here. In other parts of the country, they call them fireflies. That's kind of a regional thing, like bubblers and drinking fountains, if anybody knows about that one. And the lightning bugs have lights to find mates. So just like birds, the male birds are super pretty so that they can find female birds or attract them. Fish are the same. So lightning bugs, same thing. The males have a light. Females also have a light, but the males fly around and flash their lights, and the females kind of decide who's their favorite flasher, light flasher, and they pick their mate based on that. Really cool thing to know about lightning bug lights is they're actually the most efficient light that you will find. Their light doesn't produce any heat, and it's a chemical reaction that happens in their bodies that they have control over. And scientists are still not exactly sure how that all works, but pretty cool. If they produced any heat when they made that, light, they wouldn't survive very long. So it's a really cool example of what scientists call cool lights. Not just yet, okay? So a really cool thing also is that fireflies are found on every continent in the world, but in the United States you don't find them past Kansas. So if you have friends who live in Colorado or California or Utah or further out west, they don't actually have fireflies. So if they come visit you, that's probably something that they're really excited to see. So kind of special for us here in the eastern United States. So one of everyone's favorite things to do in the summer, of course, is to catch lightning bugs. And we have a fun project today that will be painting our jar that we'll put our lightning bugs in with glow-in-the-dark paint, so at night when you're going out to hunt for bugs, it will glow like the lightning bugs. So Madeline is putting little dots. You want to get some more paint, buddy? Oh, yeah, perfect. Yep, good job. Painting our jar with dots. You want to hold it up so they can see it, please? And once that paint dries, I can take a permanent marker and draw little bugs with wings or not. Depends on what you're out for. And then we want to have a little bit of a habitat for our lightning bugs before we catch them. Now, most lightning bugs, their limiting factor is water. So you want to put a moist paper towel in the bottom of your jar. While Madeline's painting, I'm just going to use this one. They also, it'd be nice to give them a little bit of a habitat. So we'll add some things that would be where they would, when they normally are outside, what would be with them. So we have some grasses from our yard. I'll put those in, then they can kind of perch on them too. I put too much on. It's okay. Doesn't matter. And then some fireflies are actually eat pollen. And so we have some flowers in our backyard. I'm going to put in a flower and trim it a little bit. So that if they decide they're hungry, they can chow on that. Now on the pollen there. Now, lightning bugs are out to find mates, and we don't want to keep them for too long because then we keep them from making more lightning bugs. So overnight is fine. I would not keep them any longer than that. They might not survive very well because they won't have any food.
No, because they'll die.
That's right. And
I remember when we had a bee from Papa's porch and it died.
Yeah.
It was stuck in the honey and died.
We didn't take a very good care of that one. That's okay. We learned, right?
Yep,
Now you
we'll
want to put
catch
holes
another bee
in your
anyways.
lid so that your your lightning bug has some breathing space. Where's our pokey thing?
Right in this bag.
And I have an awl, but a knife, a nail and a hammer works just fine. Poke a couple holes in the lid.
You can use this top.
Yeah, that's for the little jar, buddy. And there you go. You have a great overnight hotel for your lightning bug. But again, the paper towel is important so that they don't dehydrate. And a little extra habitat will always be nice, and let them go the next day. So once Madeline's jar dries, we will be able to catch our lightning bugs. I think that's enough paint. Do you think so, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Fun, quick project you can do with your kids is to draw some fireflies in crayon on paper and then do blue paint over it so it's a resist project. And we kind of extended this because Madeline is, after a long summer, remembering how to write her letters and numbers. I think that's probably enough water, buddy, but keep going. And so I drew the fireflies. You can probably see them on the paper, and she drew the numbers, and she's painting it blue so it looks like the night sky. Depending on how old your kids are, they can do all of this themselves. I drew the firefly, Madeline did their butts, and then there's rhymes online. One little firefly shines very bright. 2 little fireflies show their lights. I'm reading this. 3 little fireflies glimmer and glow. 4 little fireflies watch them go. 5 little fireflies fly in the night. Blink, 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 blink. My, what a sight. So here's our mostly finished project. You can see Madeline again working on writing her letters or her numbers correctly. We'll let that dry. That'll look really nice, huh? Yeah. Awesome. So just a quick lightning bug activity to do. Nothing fancy. So if you have older kids, they're not going to like this painting activity, but they might like to extend their firefly collecting into some science, or you might like them to. And one of the ways to do that is to do some observations. Different fireflies have different flashing patterns, and that depends on the species. That's really cool. And also some imitate others to try and sneak in. But Massachusetts Audubon has a really great website called Firefly Watch, and they have this actual graphic that shows 6 different species of fireflies and what their flashing pattern is. So your kids can try and identify the fireflies in your yard based on what the pattern is. You can play a charades game where they're, figure out which firefly I am. There's a bunch of extensions for that. And then you can do citizen science as well by not only identifying which ones you have in your yard, but every week collecting information. It takes about 10 minutes, and you can submit, collect this information and submit the form to Massachusetts Audubon, and then you're part of a citizen science project, which is also really cool. And again, you could just print this form off and do it in your yard, and then your kids would have a good idea about where they're finding fireflies, when they see more, what time, things like that. Things you can talk about. They can graphic, it's okay. All sorts of things you can, pull from this, whether it's, even if it's just looking at the different, things like habitat type and the number of fireflies and things like that. So 2 other options for your older kids. So something else you might be interested in knowing is how to have more fireflies in your yard. Fireflies love shrubs and grasses, tall grasses. So, you know, we have a lot of native plants in our yard. We have a lot of structure in our plants. So there's, you know, tall and short and density. So good habitat for fireflies. You know, you don't have to have native plants, but if you have some plants in your yard, period, that would be helpful. They also need water. Water's often one of those things that is limited for them. Sure, that's fine. And so in one of our earlier videos, we talked about like a butterfly bath, where you just take a plant tray and put some rocks in it and fill it with water. That would be a great source of water for your lightning bugs. Lightning bugs need darkness to be able to find each other. So if you have lights, you know, security lights in your backyard, maybe turn those off for a, you know, from, I don't know, 8:30 to 11 at night, so that the lightning bugs don't have any interference from light pollution. So those are all ways to kind of attract lightning bugs and keep lightning bugs in your yard. They are suffering a lot right now because they get the same impacts as butterflies and moths when we try to remove pests like mosquitoes from our yards. So the more habitat we can create for them and shelter, the better. So another way to make sure you get more lightning bugs in your yard is when you rake your leaves in the fall is to compost them in your backyard rather than putting them out on the street, because the larvae live in that leaf matter and they eat the things that live in that leaf matter. So even if you can just hold on to it through the winter and then take it to get composted later in the spring, that will help them live at least, you know, through their larval stage. Just like other insects, they have the larval stage, you know, the egg, larva, pupa, and then adult stage. So, you know, that early spring time is when the larvae are looking for food and trying to, and that leaf litter is a good source of that. So I know, you know, leaves on your grass is not everyone's favorite, and it might have a hard time keeping your leaves around your backyard, but it's one of the things you can try for maybe 1 year. So that's one way to make sure you're growing more lightning bugs in your yard. So this week we have another take-home kit for this video, and that will include a small jar and some paint for you guys to do the jar painting project. It'll also include some blue acetate, and this is just stuff you wrap flower bouquets in.
It fell apart, so I thought you would need it when it fell apart.
And so what you do with that is you wrap it around a flashlight, and then when it's dark out, you can look at the lightning bugs, and the blue light won't bother them. White light will irritate them. It's just more light pollution. It looks like the light of other lightning bugs, but if you put some blue acetate over it, then that'll help make it easier for you to observe them without disturbing them too much. It'll also include the handouts from the Massachusetts Audubon for the firefly lighting patterns and the observation forms, so you guys can check those out. And then Danielle put together a fun little project that includes a song. Do you want to sing the song?
5 little ducks went swimming one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said, quack, 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 and only 4 little ducks swam back.
So your preschooler probably knows that song, and then you can adapt it to these words, which have to do with fireflies. And so Danielle's got a coloring sheet with some 5 fireflies. You can color and cut those out, and then use this awesome little scene to sing that song with. So you put all 5 down, and take one away, or you blow it away, however you want to do it.
How do you want to blow it away? How?
You go
Like that.
So lots of fun stuff in our kits this week. Go ahead and get on our website and figure out to learn how to sign up for those. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just 1 second. Have a great week. Bye.